So is he the modern day Collins Besuma, or is he the equivalent of Bukayo Saka in the EPL? Today we're taking a look at Peter Shalulile, the Namibian forward who's scoring goals in the South African DSTV premiership this season.
We're underway. Brandon Peterson under immediate pressure, and he could be in trouble here. Yes, Shalulile, goal! Superb!
Shalulile, for the most part, gets his goals in the golden area, in that penalty area there. He finds space, he's confident, he picks his spots, and usually executes, like you see in this clip here. Off his powerful right foot, buries it into the back of the net. He's not a player you really want to leave with a lot of space. He punishes you, as most of the clubs in the DSTV premiership has found out. Like you see there, he has this uncanny ability to run in behind defenders. And this time, you also saw him make his execution, like if you see in that clip, coming off his left foot. For the most part, the Namibian prefers using his right foot, but is still effective and lethal on his left. There again, we see the element I talked about the guy finding space behind the defenders. He almost runs unnoticed. You actually need to have very intelligent defenders who are able to pick him up and know where he is. He's fast, he's uncanny. So if I were just summarizing him, I would just say he's the South African Premiership's own Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Well, that's if we're looking in the yesteryears of the English game. Yeah, so the bulk of his movement is ideally off the ball. He doesn't do much in terms of on the ball, link-up play, but he finds himself in the right places. As you see him, he's just supplanted. He was running along as there was build-up. He finds the goal. If you look up in this build-up for play, he actually beats the offside trap, knows when to stop, and picks up the second ball. His awareness is maverick, it's genius. Actually, considering his run of form, it's actually very surprising that he hasn't been taken up by any other leagues, well, outside of the South African league. See him again in that predator mode, finding that little header and finding the back of the net. Well, if we're taking a look at his goal scoring, we're going to see that Shalulile's goal scoring is a bit poachery on the end. It's more about being in the right place and being in the very short range. If we want to draw comparisons, we can think about players like Manchester United's Haaland or Man City's Haaland. So the Sundowns man actually has less range. You find him rarely pulling shots from anywhere outside the box. It's usually up close and personal, though he does pick a punch when he does let loose. For the most part, if you look at Shalulile's game, he scores a lot of goals, so most people end up overlooking another key component of his game. He's not that avid dribbler, but he's great at assisting. He has that vision, and as you can see in these items, he creates layoffs, he has that ability to make that pass, which just puts teammates in positions where they don't really need to do much work. Simple tap-ins, clear sights of goal. If he wasn't the main striker, I actually think he'd even play proper in a number 10 role. That's another aspect of his game. He's a great assisting striker. Like, I actually think if he wasn't the main focus number 9, you could play him as a number 10 and you'd still get great goals and great goal scoring opportunities for whoever plays the central point man. He doesn't dribble that deftly, but his passes put his teammates in great positions that they don't really have to do much work to convert. So the Namibian international's other key strength is his ability to control the ball or hold the ball. He gets to create enough space between himself and defenders to be a threat in open play, but critically in finishing. As you see in that clip, he shields the ball and pulls the trigger. I think it's also important for me to point out that Shalulile has been having great seasons and getting goal gluts. Also, we attribute that to him not getting a lot of injuries. I think the key element to that too is right there. His thing about whenever he's in the penalty box, he's difficult to challenge aggressively, and he's also very fast. So most defenders are on the cautious side. At the same time, they're slower than him. So Shalulile is finding himself in positions where the minimum touches he makes on balls and his efficient execution getting him this goal gluts, getting him these amazing numbers. I would have loved to see him in spaces in fast games or fast tempo places like where the likes of Samuel Eto'o played. although he doesn't play out on the wings, those short bursts, that physique, good physique and budgetary touches he makes kind of remind me of the Cameroonian international. For me, for the third season running in the South African Premiership, Shalulile is the complete striker. I don't believe he can get any better than this. Shalulile's completeness as a striker also extends to his heading game. He goes in there, he's not afraid to put his head where it hurts versus defenders. He actually wants it more. Like you see in this clip, he actually puts his body behind the ball, accounting for the power with which the cross comes in, gets in ahead of the defender. In the next play here, you see him angling, looking for space, going down low, and powering and directing the ball into the back of the net. I think if you're just watching him in these aerial executions, you just have to acknowledge his genius in terms of knowing exactly what power to put behind a header, exactly what is required, and positioning himself. It's just beautiful to watch. Like I said, in my opinion, he's the complete striker. Another key strength the Namibian has is his ability to run onto balls. He doesn't accelerate completely over long distances, but on those short spaces, you'd learn to compare him to some situations and performances you'd find from the likes of strikers like Kylian Mbappe. Whenever teams come against Sundowns and this Namibian is on there, you don't ever want to be playing a high back line because he's running in the final third. Is just something else. He does those little passes and runs into space. He doesn't need a lot of time on the ball. If you just give him very little time, he'll do damage. He won't stop running and he'll pick the back of the net. Well, in those cases when fouls are drawn, Shalulile turns out as a choice penalty taker. Now his technique, for the most part, is simple. He goes for power, he picks a spot. He doesn't do those fancy penalties. He does it by the textbook. And his conversion rate is exceptional. He just exudes the confidence of a striker. I believe this number 38 is going to cement his place in South African folklore. So Shalulile has already been having a great season so far in the DSTV 2023-2024 Premiership. He's also proving to be a handful in the MTN 8 tournament. 2023-2024 might be a season for Shalulile to get another golden boot. That's been a technical analysis from us at Nuance Sports. Till next time, guys.